The New Zealand Track and Field Championships are on in Wellington across this weekend. In fact, they started on Thursday, continued yesterday and on through today and tomorrow. Hot favourite in the men's 1500 metres is defending champion Sam Tanner, who joins us now. Now, Sam, we remember your exploits at the Commonwealth Games in Birmingham last year, but you have had quite the couple of months. You set a new personal best in the mile in Whanganui, then you broke that indoors in Boston. Then you broke it again in New York the following week, running 3:51.70. You are now the third fastest miler in our history. And then you set a new outdoor mile personal best in Melbourne 8 days ago, where you ran 3:53.83. These are incredible numbers, man. How good are you feeling right now?
Yeah, thanks, mate. Pretty good. It's been a pretty fun little adventure over the last month and a bit. The body's definitely feeling it. Starting to feel it now at nationals. But this is my last kind of few races before I get a little bit of a break. So it's been a good little ride.
Is there anything in particular that's led to these really fast times?
No, it's just consistency, I think, has been the key for me over the last year. Progressing off my 3:31 from the Commonwealth Games last year, and then just been like, okay, back to work and getting fit again.
I want to ask you about that gold medal race in Birmingham. As you say, 3:31.34, 3 seconds off your PB. New Zealand's second fastest ever 1,500 metres behind Nick Willis. How do you reflect back on that day?
That's a pretty special day for me, and I think it probably will stay a special day for me for quite a while. It was my first real experience other than the Olympics that I was kind of felt like I was in it to win it, and obviously didn't win it, but kind of won my own battles in a way, and just coming away with that time and looking up at the board and just being like, oh my goodness, I cannot believe I just did that. It was one of those out-of-body experiences, which was pretty special.
So going into that final, and even actually going into Birmingham as a whole, did you feel like you had that kind of run in you?
Nah, and I think that's why it was so exciting when I looked up and saw the clock, because I was like, oh man, I thought I was in maybe 3:32 shape, like 3:32 high, 3:33 low, and then looking down and seeing 3:31.3, I was just like, oh my goodness, that's just incredible.
So the men's 1,500 metre record is 3:29.66. Nick Willis set that in 2015. Do you reckon you can break that?
Oh yeah, I think so. It'll just come down to getting to the right race and being fit on the day. But the 1,500 is one of those elusive races where you may be fit enough to run it, but never run it. So it'll be, definitely a very, very, very hard record to break. But I got a few more to tick off before I think I get that one.
Do you have a standard race strategy over 1,500 metres? How does it play out in your mind?
It kind of changes on the competition that I'm in. Like for this nationals this weekend, I've kind of got the option of doing a couple different things, whether it's from leading from the front or kind of sitting and kicking. But when it comes down to like a time trial, more like Diamond League event, it's probably more about placement on the train and just getting on and relaxing as much as possible.
When you talk about sit and kick, how difficult is it to know when to kick?
Oh, I don't know. I think it changes for every person. Like if you're a really fast, if you're more of a strength speed guy, you might want to go further out. But if you're probably someone more like me who can, run a 48-second 400 or something, you can kind of leave it to a little bit later and still get away with kind of being there in the last few meters and just kind of pipping them on the line or taking off with 100 to go or 400 to go. So, yeah, it really comes down to the individual, but I've always found that I like to kind of close the last 200 or 400 hard.
And in terms of the other strategy you mentioned before, leading from the front, which I guess you might do depending, as you say, on the field, is that something that is a completely different set of mental strategies that you go from the front, say, right, I'm going to start here and I'm going to finish here?
Yeah, exactly. It is definitely a harder way to run. And you've got to be mentally prepped to really put yourself in the box and hurt, which is, a way that not many people like to go because it's just that much harder. But at the same time, if you're in the front, you're in control of the race. So that's another way to look at it there.
And when you're looking looking for ways to improve your PBs, to shave off, you shaved off 3 seconds in Birmingham, incredible. But even to shave a second off, for example, where do you place your focus when you're looking for those big improvements or things that will make a massive difference when the clock stops when you cross the line?
I think during the race, the thing you focus on is just that third lap. And if that third lap's honest and it's a hot pace, then you're probably going to set yourself up really well to run a fast time. Whereas if you relax, I think that the key is to just not take your foot off the gas and go balls to the wall. To be honest, like it's a hard race to run, but if you run it perfectly, often it's actually really easy.
How did this all begin for you? When did you start realising that this was something you might be quite good at?
I always did athletics when I was a kid, with the junior little athletics days kind of around town and stuff. And my mum was quite a good runner when she was when she was young, and I kind of just decided one day that I wanted to run a cross country. I won it, and then some scholarship offers kind of started coming in from American universities, and I went, actually, I guess I could be pretty good at this thing. And I think it just stemmed from being quite a competitive little kid, and hating losing more than anything else. And so some mornings I'd be so nervous that I'd vomit because I'm like, I couldn't actually get my breakfast down. I was so nervous.
Wow. And you talked about your 400 metres before, and you look across the range. And, I mean, nobody runs 400 and 1,500, but some people run 8:15, some people run 1,500, 5,000. Is there a natural fit for you if there was going to be a secondary event? I see you did the 5 on Thursday night, but was that just kind of a bit of a freshener, a bit of a warm-up, was it?
Yeah, that was it was probably more of a help your mates race kind of thing. So I saw last night that I led that first, 3.6K or something and kind of just put myself in the box, but that was really to give it a good, honest effort, but also help my training partner, Julian, run a fast time and get some good ranking points for World Champs. But I think I'd probably see myself fit as more of an 800, 1,500 guy. Maybe the coach might see it differently, but that's actually my preference.
Good stuff. And I mean, Nick Willis was 32 when he ran that 1,500 metre record. John Walker was 30 when he ran New Zealand's mile record. You're 22. This is crazy, isn't it, that you're doing what you're doing at your age?
Yeah. I thought about that the other day, actually. A lot of the guys best in the world at the moment are 28, 29, and I'm like, oh, man, I want to win, but I'm like, I'm still young, and it kind of annoys me. I'm like, I guess I have to wait, or I don't have to wait, but it's probably a good idea to just be patient and not try to overtrain too much when I'm young.
And so what happens at 27, 28, or even into early 30s that allows middle distance runners to excel at that age? Is it just getting the miles under your feet?
Yeah, I think that's really the biggest component, getting the miles under your feet, and it's just the added accumulative strength that you kind of gain over the years, which is, I just think this plays a big part when it comes down to letting yourself hurt, which is actually, I think, one of the reasons why I've done so well so young is because I've learnt that to a degree and gone, actually, I can make myself hurt pretty well. And, my dad always used to say, pain is your friend. And so I was like, okay, that's a funny way to look at it, Dad, but I guess it works.
Wow. It's, dads hand down advice to their kids a lot, but pain is your friend is a new one on me. But it's obviously working for you. And because, what do you just think, well, this is going to be over in 3 minutes 30, so I can handle the pain for that long?
Oh, absolutely. If you run a 1,500 right, it doesn't hurt for the first 2 laps, and you've only got 2 minutes of pain. And anyone can hurt for 2 minutes. Well, I seem to think anyway. But the 5K is a bit of a different story. So I think I'll stick to the 15 for a while. Fair enough.
And you mentioned at the start of the chat that you're coming towards the end of what's been a busy summer period for you. So you'll have a wee break, and then what does the rest of 2023 hold for you?
So probably about June, I'll head over to Europe and do a couple of months over there racing some diamond leagues and preparing for World Champs, effectively.
And do you have to qualify for World Champs, or have you run that time already?
Yeah, I was fortunate enough to run that auto standard in Birmingham Com Games last year, so I don't have to worry about that too much. I still have to be selected, but I think the chances are pretty high. I've met all the criteria, so all I have to wait for is the selection date.
All right, and just to finish, New Zealand's got such a proud history in middle distance running, as I'm sure you're aware. I've mentioned Nick Willis, I've mentioned John Walker, but there are many, many others as well. Do you feel the weight of that legacy? Does the black singlet on your shoulders weigh heavily or not?
Some days yes, some days no. I think when you think about it and you really put into perspective of how big of a deal it is, yeah, definitely. It's always an honour, and you fight and you make yourself hurt that little bit extra because you're a Kiwi and because you want to win and you want to make your country proud. And so it's those days, yes, and then other days, regular training days, sometimes you get a little soft and forget about it. But it's definitely such a significant part of being a Kiwi, and I really enjoy wearing that singlet and holding that, trying to continue that legacy.
It's been such a genuine pleasure getting the chance to chat to you, Sam. All the best across the weekend at the National Champs and on towards the rest of 2023. Hopefully we can catch up again sometime.
Cool. Cheers, mate. Thanks for having me.
Thanks for joining us, Sam. Sam Tanner there, our national 1,500 metre champion for men. He'll have heats this afternoon and the final tomorrow at the National Track and Field Champs at Newtown Park in Wellington. And by the sounds of things, it's a very bright future ahead for Sam Tanner. The numbers he's putting up now as a 22-year-old augur so well for what might lie ahead. That's a name to keep an eye on, the black singlet of Sam Tanner.
Hello, I'm Francesca Rudkin.
And I'm Louise Erie, and we're excited to be working with the New Zealand Herald on our new podcast, The Little Things.
So Louise and I have been friends for probably over 13 years now, and we've been through it all: kids, relationships, health crises,
menopause.
Let's not get into that just yet.
But I think we can both agree that there are times we just wish we had one place to go for some explanations on what's going on with our bodies, our kids, and the relationships in our lives.
And this podcast is all about those little things that women need to know about getting older, raising kids, staying healthy, and taking care of yourself at whatever age and stage you're at.
So join us every Saturday to hear from the experts and get all the advice and tips you need.
Listen to The Little Things at nzherald.co.nz or follow us at iHeartRadio or wherever you get your podcasts.